We're back. And we are back with season 10 of Keys to AWS. I am pumped to be back on the airs. We have a whole plethora of shows for you. We have about 15 shows this season. We've got customers like we've got on today with Rivian. We have got deep dives into technical optimization, and we have some silly, fun episodes as always in the pipeline. But welcome, my lovely guests. How are you guys doing? Xianshu, very cool background. I'm enjoying the map. What's the map of is the question.
Oh, it's from San Francisco. It's like where the tech hub.
The tech hub. I love it. I love it. And Umakant, whereabouts are you based?
Yeah, I'm based out of Cupertino, but my office is Palo Alto,
Oh,
California.
wow. Oh, very cool. Very nice. Awesome. All right. So, couple of housekeeping bits before we get started with this show. Just to say welcome back. And as a reminder, don't forget that you can not only see us live on the airs right now, you can catch us on our YouTube channel, The Keys to AWS Optimization. And you can also make sure that you check us out on Spotify. So people don't always know there's a Spotify version of this. So if you're like me and you love listening to podcasts, why not subscribe and check that out? And secondly, I wanted to showcase a super fun blog that we had published like a week ago. I popped this in the chat. This is very fun. It's all about using Amazon announcements of new features that are cost-based and putting them into Slack. So if you are listening and you were like, whoa, there's so many new announcements from Amazon, how do I keep track? How do I make sure I don't miss any savings? Make sure you set up this thing and let us know if you have any questions or feedback. But without further ado, let's get back into the show with welcome to the Keys to AWS Optimization, the show we share stories, concepts, and solutions to help you unlock your spend at AWS. My name is Steph Gooch. I'm a senior optimization architect here to help you with all your FinOps journey and questions. And today we're talking to Rivian, big car automotive company, and we've got Umakant and Xianshu to talk about it. So we're going to be talking about the future of FinOps. We're going to be talking about cost optimization, and of course the journey into FinOps and the goals that you have along the way. As always, please feel free to say hi, put things in the chat, ask questions. We were saying hi, Cloud Without Strife, hi all. Costslayer is in the house. Thank you all. We'll be doing polls, we'll be doing fun things, but let's get into some 1 minute origin stories. So Umakant, why don't you go first with your 1 minute origin story?
Sure. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Umakant Dwivedi, an AWS cost optimization engineer with Rivian. Today I'm here to explore new ideas and reinvest with Rivian, FinOps for Future together. Since joining Rivian in early 2022, I have been on an incredible adventure. Back then, our company was growing, so did our AWS bill. But we came together, took action, and over delivered on cost optimization. With our leader support and team's hard work, we achieved something remarkable. We saved a significant amount, equal to 100% of our AWS monthly bill when we started this journey. Just to clarify, this doesn't mean our expenses are zero now. Rather, we have reinvested these savings to fuel our growth and innovation and to drive us closer to our company's mission of keeping the word adventure forever. At Rivian, we measure our savings not just in dollars, but also in Rivian R1T trucks. We joke, with this kind of saving, we could buy R1T truck for each software team member across the company every year, plus a few for unsung heroes from AWS team who supports us. But seriously, this journey shows what an aligned goal and teamwork can achieve. Today, I'm thrilled to share my story with you and answer any question which you may have.
Amazing. And Rivian, Umakant has come as when we started talking about you coming on the show. I know you may have seen one or two of the episodes, to put it lightly, and I'm super excited to hear your story. And like you said, the savings they've had is amazing. And so if you are watching and want to hear how someone actually did it, this is the episode for you. All right, Xianshu, take it off.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Xianshu. I'm a senior commercial architect in the AWS Optics team. I actually work at the same team as Steph. So if you don't know already, I'm pretty sure you do, like optics, we are subject matter experts to help our enterprise customers optimize the current and future workloads. So I cover automotive and manufacturing customers. So I'm especially excited to help our customers to be more efficient on the cloud. And so they have more resources to get reinvested in the future technologies and future workloads like autonomous driving and other like simulation, like MI, ML, like fancy workload in the cloud so that it can increase our driving experience on a daily basis. So I feel very excited working on the industry and also specifically working with Rivian with Umakant. It's been 2.5 years now. It's been an incredible journey. I know it's been a while we're working together, but I still learn from him every single day. And I'm pretty sure that I will learn new things from him on this show too. So I look forward to that. And also, I'm happy to share like maybe some other best practices that I've seen with other automotive customers that I work with too. So really happy to be
Amazing.
on the show.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got the customer and the person from AWS who helped them do it. And the good thing about this, like she said, there's going to be some stuff that she's in with Rivian and other people that are going to come into the situation, and she can share the stories. Some great comments in the chat. Umakant, our cost-saving hero, Rivian. Oh, that's got some fans. Just someone yelling, Umakant, yes, you're doing amazing. And someone saying, we do like Rivian. There's a thumbs up from this guy, AJ. So you got some great comment. Keep the comments coming, guys. Any questions or comments, pop them in. Let's get into some kind of background, some stories about FinOps. So I want to start the first part of the show learning about how you get into FinOps and how you chose your goals. I feel like people often struggle with that kind of challenge. So Umakant, can you share some kind of your personal journey into FinOps and maybe what led you into this to see if people could also follow the same route as you?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, thanks, Xianshu, for all the kind words. And definitely, I'm eager to share my FinOps journey here, which started with a simple goal in mind, like how to tackle growing AWS cost. And back in 2016, I was a cloud project manager for a pharmaceutical company. And I saw significant opportunity for cloud cost optimization. And same time, like I felt very compelled to take some action. With a background in computer science, I pursued all 5 AWS certification at that time. Like there were only 5, including 2 professional, to tackle this, to gain the expertise needed to tackle this growing cost challenge. And back then, nobody knew FinOps. So we used to call it cloud analysis, cloud capacity planning, cloud financial management. Even now, also like AWS uses CFM very much. So we were kind of pioneers in this field, navigating this uncharted territory and learning as we went. Later, in my role as AWS capacity planning engineer at Upwork, I drove significant cost saving there. And same time, I participated in some AWS case study, how to use proactive savings plan. So means there is a case study published on AWS website also, so you can check it out. And then later, I saw like FinOps has evolved into a formal practice thanks to FinOps Foundation leadership and community. It has been very rewarding to see this. And now I continue to refine my FinOps strategies and learning in Rivian. And I feel really grateful for to be part of a team which is very passionate about cloud cost optimization and dedicated to making a difference in companies' cloud spend. Thanks.
Amazing. So I'm just going to jump in with a very quick poll based on what you said, because the certs conversation is always really interesting when it comes in to this. So people in the chat, 1, 2, 3, 4, let us know how many certifications you have, because I'm always interested to know how many have I got? 2. Pop 1, 2, 3 in the chat, because I often see that FinOps people are actually, do you know what I say often? Xianshu, how many people do you think normally, how many certs would you say an average FinOps person has? Do you know?
I guess 3 to 4. 3.
Oh, wait. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm really under the mark. I hate exams. Everyone knows I hate exams. 9. Cosplayer's got 9. Jesus. Wow. All right. That's just showing off. I'm taking it down. I don't need to know that. But yeah, most people had 4 or more. So well done to all those people. Let us know any thoughts on the exams. It's always interesting. But to bring it back, and maybe I'll go to Xianshu next on this. So you're saying you've kind of had this growth into, you've had this kind of development into the world of cost. And so the culture change is going to be one of the big things that we see customers have as a challenge, right? So Xianshu, maybe as a quick like intro to that, what do you see the biggest challenges are for customers just out the gate for culture changes when you work with them?
Okay, so the immediate idea came to my mind is cost visibility and observability, and how do you track your impacts? Yeah, like data driven, so because sometimes I think Umakant will tap into more about that, overarchingly. But from my experience and working with other customers, always a huge challenge is how do you use some data to support the culture so that is more tangible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I totally agree that sometimes challenge of just like seeing information, like let alone getting developers to take action and all that stuff can be a challenge. But sometimes just being like, how much do I spend can be really difficult. So
Yeah.
from a Rivian point of view, from a experience point of view, Umakant, how have you developed a kind of cost awareness in Rivian?
So definitely, how do we create a culture of cost awareness and at the same time accountability? So first, I think companies should try a strategic approach by telling people that how their cost optimization goals and companies' financial goals are aligned. Wherever I have worked, what I have seen, like leadership will team tell me that okay, this cloud cost should not grow beyond companies' growth.
Mm-hmm.
So if company is growing at X%, like cloud cannot grow X plus percentage. There are a few exceptions, like a one time some investment is there, our company is in the growth phase. So barring this, like it should be aligned. Second, we should create a culture of trust, and same time, like we should assume, the first thing is like assume good intention of the team member. If you see something over provision resource, don't come to a conclusion that okay, people are lazy, they have left it as it is. But if you try to dig into it, you will find out more reasons behind it. It may be lift and shift, it may be a vendor recommendation, it may be something like a past incident that led to this over provision resources. One time I was seeing this petabytes of data in S3 standard, and I asked him to move it to different tier to take advantage of cheaper prices. But later we learned that okay, vendor is not ready to support like in other tiers, so we have to keep it there. So we should create a culture of trust and provide a safe environment to everybody, where people can come together and talk about cost optimization. And second one, what I felt like in Rivian, especially, we have this very safe environment, and I personally conduct like 30 plus meetings with different teams where we come together, we talk about our cost optimization, best practices, and budget management. And then for accountability, I think we should provide real time data to the team, and if we can do that, like half of the task is done, right? So there is a story, famous story from Dale Carnegie's book How to Win Friends and Influence People, where there is a
I literally wait, this one.
wow, you have this. So
Advertising.
I'm sure like
You can
everybody has read it.
Yeah, I'm like,
And
I don't even know why it's on my desk. Purchase at Amazon. No, I'm joking.
yeah,
Sorry,
definitely. So
continue.
this
I
book
interrupted
is
that.
a popular one. I'm sure like others viewers might have read it. So there is a story in this one where there is a factory shift manager, and he comes to a factory, and then he writes like how many items first shift people produce, and then second shift people come to office, and then they see like okay, first shift workers have produced X number, and then they try to do more. So that led to the surge in the productivity. So by following this, like trusting people, and the same time like providing real time spend data are important for this.
I love that. And there's so many things I'm just going to pick on. They're definitely like making sure you're looking out for stuff and keeping other people accountable. Feels like in the UK, we have this like see it, say it, sort it thing that is something that you talk about in like safety and public transport. But I like that is, yeah, keep an eye on other people. What is going on in your teams, and always feel free to ask the questions of why and challenge people's ideas and have a debate is always healthy. And also, just to call out, like you were saying, you're putting in time and having meetings with these teams. I think is something that people don't give enough literal time to, like focusing on spending time with people, building up those relationships, and also making it a regular kind of cadence. But Xianshu, anything else you want to add to that section?
Yeah, thanks for calling me out, because I would just want to say that I really love how Umakant like builds up the cadences and owns it. Because actually, when I'm speaking with customers that are starting their FinOps journey, I always refer to his approach if like one of the best practices, if not the best practices, to start like the culture building and then also dedicated to it. So working with Umakant, I know like at the very beginning, he actually like conducts like 30 plus meetings with his application team so that they are on the same page and then have the right data they need. So which is really great. And also I just can double click into what he mentioned the very last, like how do you increase productivity by like sharing real-time data. So for that, it's like especially impactful is also because the data you share with the engineering team are contextualized with what matters to the application or what matters to Rivian's business. So for example, like we work together like to integrate cost categories in the dashboards that we build together. And also like Rivian like uses the KPIs to set some goals so that they can track progresses. So for example, we do use the Amazon S3. We track the percentage of gigabytes stored on standard tiering, and we have a target to bring it down by 300%. And we accomplished that. So yeah, it's a really good journey. Really loved it.
The numbers and goals that you guys spit out in this talk is always just like amazing. And someone agrees with me in the chat. They've just put, that's amazing. It is. They've done a great job. And also, I like this. I'm assuming they meant new rather than mu. The new FinOps motto is see it, say it, sort it. Maybe I should get that on a poster. Come see me at FinOps X. Maybe we'll make some stickers. I love that kind of thing. All right. Before we kind of, I've got a couple of questions in the chat, but I want to round off this section with, we mentioned kind of budgets and making sure that you're tracking spend, but how do you guys handle those unexpected costs, that bill shock where something has happened and the spike is maybe you get a little alert that you weren't really anticipating? Umakant, have you had any of that, or any stories about how you would control that kind of spend?
Yeah, everybody has this budget overrun, cost spike. Nobody's exception. And whatever best you try, like you will always have some kind of spike. So we follow three-step strategy there. First step is like RCA, root cause analysis, and second step, take immediate action. Third is like fix it for the long term. So let me explain, like go one by one. So in RCA section, root cause analysis, what we do, we use cost explore features like resource type, which is a new one, and I really love it. And go to cost explore, group by resource, and you can see last 14 days resource there, and cost anomaly alert. So to identify the root cause. And once you identify, then what we do, like we tighten the user's policy and scale down any unnecessary resources so that immediately we take care of this spike. And then the last one, what we do, we kind of create a budget alert, and then if automation is required, we do the automation to fix it for the long run. One example I want to share, which happened recently about ODCR. Viewers who don't know what is ODCR, it's on demand capacity reservation. It's a way in AWS to block the capacity. So we blocked it. It's like a reserved instances. You have to pay for it as respective whether you are using it or not. And it's very much specific to a particular availability zone. So we purchased it in one availability zone and we launched instances in another availability zone. So that resulted in duplicate EC2 cost. So once we identified with all the alerts and everything, and then we fixed the problem. And for the long run, what we did, like if you go to AWS budget alerts, like there is an option to create users alert also. So you just select like unused box for ODCR, select all the check boxes whatever you see there, and put a dollar amount, maybe 1 cent, and the moment like it hits $0.01, and you will start seeing those alerts in your email box or chat, wherever you are going to send. And for the long term, what we did, like we put some automation which will convert this ODCR, if not in use, into a suspendable ODCR. So suspendable ODCR earns you credit if it's not in use. So by following this, like we generally avoid any budget alert, any cost spike or budget overrun.
Great. We've actually got a question in the chat that I might throw to Xianshu as like a segue point, which is the cost data is lagging indicator for anomalies. It takes about 24 hours, no, 12 hours, I think it takes. How else can we quickly identify that something has gone? I think it's awry. It took me too long to read. I was like, what? Yeah, Xianshu, do you work with any stories, or maybe even Umakant, where you've tried to use anything different to track the anomalies and spend? Or found nothing else that works?
I think I can quickly throw an idea. I think Umakant also mentioned in his answer is in Cost Explorer that we have actually like a ML edit feature that is actually my favorite feature of Cost Explorer. This is the cost anomaly detection that helps you give alerts. Like you can configure some settings and then you will get alert like rather fast, like while it's happening. And also, just the beginning of this month is 30% faster, like the latency reduced by 30%.
Oh, wow.
And then Umakant wants to add to that. Yeah. Very nice coincidence.
Let's see if I can find a log on that. Yeah, Umakant, anything else you've oh goodness, that's a great shout. I'll just pop this up on the I didn't even know about that announcement. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
announcement reduces latency. Like she said, do you know what she's done? She's probably deployed that blog that tracks that blog I just shared at the start about tracking announcements and has paid attention to it. 30% faster. So Rusty, who just asked that question, check out and see if this is sped up already. You don't need to change anything. It should just be a bit faster. The other thing I would do is also make sure you check out if you want to see AWS CloudWatch alerts is another thing you could also use. But Umakant, have you seen anything else that you might want to suggest for him?
Sure. So basically for this one, what we can do, we can create some automation around it, like wherever there are some if you go to RDS, there is one to visualize the query, like how you are using the query. Similarly for RDS, Redshift, there are a lot of places like where you can go and see in the real time like how your queries are performing. So you need not to wait for like cost anomalies, but if you can think of like a lot of different ways, like and which I'm will be talking in more details. So instead of being reactive and depending on this cost anomalies, we can be proactive, and we can start with something like which is more proactive in this field. So we will cover those things later, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's do a quick secondary poll because I'm interested. We're talking about, we just mentioned something that was the budgets were 30% faster. So I'm keen to know, has anyone deployed Curve 2.0 yet? Just as a side note, I'm just intrigued to know. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. Oh, that's the wrong screen. Type in 1 for yes, 2 for no in the chat. This is a new feature. So Curve 2.0 is a new version of the cost and use report, and it gives you account names and account also compresses data. So it means that you don't have to spend as much on storage. So most people are saying, no, guys, what are you doing? We've got to get you guys out there to go and find this. I'll pop a link in the chat in a second to do this, but I am pushing people to do this. So as an action, go and check out Curve 2.0. It is really cool. It has the names in, it's compressed, it gives you some more control. And if you have any questions, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below. And if you have any follow-up questions or want to learn anything else, you can email us at costoptimization.com. But give the video a like and come back so that you can learn a bit more about it. Okay, good little segue. And I also saw a nice, fun question. Where did it go? That was quite fun. Here we go. Any funny FinOps stories you can share? I love this kind of question. All right, I'm gonna have to rang my brain, but I've guessed. So Umakant, any funny FinOps stories you want to share to the people watching?
Yeah, sure. Means there are so many funny stories. Like when you work for many years in this field, like every now and then. But one I remember, like so once I called up my mom in India and tried to explain her like what work I'm doing in the office. So I told her that how you turn off electricity, unused like tube light bulb, and to save electricity bill. So similarly, I turn off computers in my office to save computer bill. And her question was like, so whole day like you go and turn off computers in the office? So I was like, no, no. I ask owners, owners of those computers to turn it off like when they are not using it. And then she was like, okay, why they need you to tell them to turn it off? Why don't the owners themselves turn it off? So after that, I didn't have any answer, and I was like, okay, let's change the topic.
No, your mum's nailed it. She's like, why do people not control their own spend? I love
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Why people don't own it if it's their computer.
That's so funny. Everyone knows, I mean, people on the show know I'm a big advocate of chatting to my mum about the different optimization stuff. Hi mum, if she's watching, probably on YouTube. But yeah, I love explaining things to my mum. My mum could, like, I've said this before, she could take the practitioner exam and probably pass it because the amount I've told her about this world of work. Xianshu, what about you?
I say my funny story is the how we can apply our FinOps best practices to our daily life. So for example, sometimes if, for example, at this moment that if I can't think of any fun stories, and then it means that my brain is on spot instances that I can't rely on it every single time. Or another thing I usually think of is like sometimes when I'm organizing my wardrobe or like I'm just organizing like my stuff, and that always reminds me my whole principle is the life cycle policy. Like how often do I use it and depend, like, yeah, where do I put it depend on how often I access it.
That's so true. Do you know what's frustrating is Jeff Dursky, who's been on the show, who's in our team, he told me a great example of this kind of thing, and I was just racking my brains for it. But yeah, it's interesting how many things become part of your normal life and how you can explain it and like the efficiency of stuff. And it's like today I'm not being efficient. I'm trying to think if I have a like normal life one. I'll tell you a funny one from a FinHack I did a few weeks ago. So a very recent story. And this was, for those who don't know, FinHack is an event which we do for our customers where we go and we do a morning of education and then an afternoon of hands-on keyboards, finding optimizations. People literally go into their accounts and they find optimization opportunities. And it's really good fun. And we did one recently, and the senior guy who was in charge of the FinHack, who was the executive sponsor, came in as well, and he has some accounts that he manages, and so he's like, I'll like do it as well. And so we have this hit list of resources that we've created saying these could be optimized, like you could always investigate these. And so he was like, kind of, I'll have a look, went in and looked at his account, and he was like, whoa, why have I got like a lot of money? I won't say how much, a lot of money on unattached EBS volumes. And he was just like, what is happening? Like, why is my account the biggest account on this list? Turned out their process meant that they would do something and then unattach a volume, but there was meant to be a script that then deleted it. Somebody disabled that script, and therefore they didn't get deleted. And these volumes were IO1s, they were huge, and they were just living there. And it was just like this small mistake. And he was just like, oh no, Steph, like, don't tell anybody it was me. Ironically, now I realize I've told the internet, so that's fun. But I didn't say who. But like, yeah. So he was just like, no. And I was like, you have to own it, my friend, because we need to show examples that this happens to everybody. So yeah, that was a fun FinHack. We've got a couple more questions, then we'll jump back into our kind of pre-planned topics. But we want to we want to maintain a continuous history of our views and reporting. I'm not sure if that's I'm assuming that if that's just a statement that they want to keep doing that. So yes,
I agree.
yeah. A second one: when Steph's mum joining the show, do you know if you guys want it? if this video, if this YouTube video gets 100 likes, that's really unlikely. If this YouTube video gets 50 likes, I will get my mum on the show. There we go. Yeah. Or in total, if I put this on social media, if this gets 50 likes, Sue Gooch will come on the show and she'll share with you her FinOps knowledge. Okay, and then the last question. What key differences in terms of best practices in auto versus other industries? I guess many, but if you could share a couple of the top, that would be interesting. That's a great question. Xianshu has worked on multiple industries in terms of an optics point of view, so I think she'll be good to answer this. But Umakant, do you know any off the top of your head that you want to share or highlight about the different industries?
Yeah, sure. So what I have seen in the auto industry and any other industry, the I think the biggest use of those AI ML, you can think of all those P4, P5s, which we use inside auto industry for training data, and for so that part I haven't seen other places, like they use like M family, C family, R family, but in this area it's more, so you have to be little proactive, like you need not to just look into CPU utilization, you have to look into GPU utilization. So most of the time, like CPU utilization is very minimal for G family, P family instances, but if you look at like GPU utilization, that's where people are using it. So if you are in auto industry and using these NVIDIA H100, those EC2 instances, make sure that you are taking care of GPU utilization along with CPU.
Awesome. Xianshu, what about you? Anything you've seen, especially between like telco and automotive?
Yeah, sure. I think the key difference is like to best practices to be more efficient in the cloud. It's also depending on the strategic workloads, like different kind of workloads that tend to be on the cloud for different industries. So for example, for automotive, I've seen like many customers now they're like innovating in the space of connected vehicles, like software vehicle, so that your car is not, it's just like your iPhone. So you're not having a hardware, but rather you have a software designed experience. So for those type of workloads, it tends to be very high on data transfer. And so then with auto customers, I do see a lot of different kind of very innovative ideas of data transfer optimization techniques, which luckily we'll be talking about a lot later too. Yeah. So I think it really depends on the workload. So I do see like in auto, I see a lot on like how to optimize data transfer, and how to optimize, like Umakant said, like those computing, like simulation, inferencing heavy type of workloads. How do you optimize your GPU? Because now like one of like a very important workload I see is like how do you like reinvent your selling, buying, purchasing experience. Like instead of seeing a real car, you actually can see a digital twin of a car. So that requires a lot of like GPUs. So yeah, I think that would be something different and very interesting, exciting about auto.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, let's get back to some of the original. And I'm just going to post in here before let us forget that these guys did a blog. So if you want to learn about some optimization stuff that we're going to go into now, check out this awesome blog by these two cool kids. So let's go into some optimization chat. So we've done a lot about kind of getting into FinOps, like the culture change, but we all love a bit of optimization. We all love a bit of savings. So Umakant, straight out the gate, favorite cost optimization technique, what would you say?
I think the favorite one is cost avoidance, because that's a proactive method, which I was talking earlier also. Like instead of being reactive, like we should be proactive. So cost avoidance, definitely, like that's on the radar for me. And we follow like three mostly categories for cost avoidance. One is like right sizing EC2 or any over provision resource, and clean up resources. So that's number one. And number two is like architectural optimization. So anything where what we can do, like we can make some architectural changes to use spot instances, serverless, managed services. And then the third one is data transfer charge avoidance. Like in our side, like what we do, we generally use BPC endpoint, CloudFront to avoid any data transfer charges. So CloudFront, what it does, like it actually sends data very close to the end user, and then same time like data transfer between your origin, it can be S3 EC2, and CloudFront is free of charge. And second thing, like if you purchase a savings bundle, CloudFront savings bundle, you can save even 30% more there. And for VPC endpoint, everybody knows, like for S3 and DynamoDB, it's free of charge. So whenever we launch any VPC, we make sure that these two at least VPC endpoints are there, so that keeps our data local. So by following these, definitely we try to avoid the charges in the first place, rather than like we try to be reactive.
Yeah, avoiding those bits. Xianshu, what about you? Favorite technique?
My favorite technique is, I think, modernizing the architecture. So, because one thing I like about this is like relatively less demanding on technical changes, just like always to make sure that you're on the latest instance family, and also we all love Graviton. So like make sure that like modernized with like puzzle places with Graviton too. Now if you don't know already, we have a Graviton opportunity dashboard that can easily help you identify the places that you can enjoy the performance and the cost saving impact, like benefits directly with Graviton. So I like modernization to keep it like modernized and always stay up to the latest chip technology. I like that.
Yeah, got to take advantage of the new technology to save money. Why not? You get the best of both worlds. Not only you get to spend less, but you get more. It's like the reverse of the iPhone monetization. I'm trying to think of. I think obviously there's a few ones left on the table that I could pick. Things like removing idle resources and removing waste are such a like quick fire, you can delete it, you make a quick buck kind of situation. But these guys are right, like the long-term changes are often more worth investing in. And I would say automation around that. So I love being able to write something or create something that does it for me. Nobody wants to sit around deleting those other resources. So figuring out if you could not always necessarily delete them because like, oh, they appear idle for one day, but how do you set up automation to remove stuff so it's been idle for a long period of time, how to maybe tag it and then review it, or even how, like Umakant was saying, like prevent it in the first place. Are there policies you can put in place to make small changes so the waste doesn't occur? That doesn't have to be necessarily about deleting stuff. One of my favorite examples, incomplete multiple uploads, having that lifecycle policy in there to prevent the waste ever happening is always awesome. And shout out to there's a new Graviton dashboard. So if you are interested in learning about optimizing and migrating to the newer types of workloads and compute, like Xianshu was saying, check out this new workshop. And if you're really interested, we will be having a Graviton dashboard session later on in the season. So make sure that you tune into that. And we've also had a great question, which is, can I get a free truck from Rivian? And the answer is, if you put in the keys to AWS discount code into the website, you will get an error message because we don't have that. But it was don't hurt to ask. You got to ask, then ask and get. You're talking to the queen of freebies. Have you not seen my office? That is a great question. Awesome. Okay. I'm glad that someone finds me funny. Okay, so continuing on with the kind of optimization track that we're chatting about. Umakant, maybe can you elaborate on innovations and approaches that you've taken when it comes to cost optimization in general?
Sure. I think one innovative approach like which we do in our company is upstream ideas. So just to give some background there, like what happens. So there is a famous book from Dan Heath. I'm a big fan of his book. It's called Upstream: The Idea to Solve the Problem Before It Happens. So there is a beautiful story in this book which talks about like two friends saving kids drowning in a river. So out of two friends, one friend decide to go upstream and find out like whosoever is throwing kids in the river. So this highlights like instead of solving problem uh, at the like node level, like somebody is sorting it out at the root level. So inspired by this philosophy, we have upstream ideas in our company. And I generally like categorize into three main section: compute, storage, and managed services. So for compute, we have a standardized list of things, but same time, like whenever I talk to a team, like I tell them that you pick AMD, you pick Graviton, Spot instances, our latest generation, our combination of these, like wherever possible. And for storage, we asked him to have a lifecycle policy or intelligent tiering on S3. For other services like EFS or maybe snapshot and backup, we say like have at least a lifecycle policy. And for management and cleanup MPU, like we ask team to take care of it in the life cycle itself. For managed services, we stick with for most part of it, like it's not possible for everything, but we try to stick with Graviton, a single instance type, so that when we are purchasing any RIs, like everything is covered. So instead of like everybody is using it their own type, so generally for RDS, OpenSearch, Elastic Cache, we try to stick with the Graviton family, and which entire company is using. And when we are purchasing RIs, like so we know that it will be covered.
The very well done to have most of Graviton and have the RI coverage. You need that double discount. It's always great. So I'm just out of time. We've got about 10 minutes left. So Xianshu, are there any specific AWS services or features that you think customers should take advantage of more, or that you think are ones that you're like, whenever you speak to customers first, you're like, this is the one that you recommend using?
I don't think I have a go-to one, because it's really like depend on what is important and what matters to the business case or what they're doing, focusing at that moment. But if I have to say, I say it's more on the observability side, but not on the cost optimization side. If there's like one thing that I do think every customer should be doing is to like have a customized cost view to your organization, so that you can always have the show back and have the charge back, and then you can be able to create like a metric that will link it back to what matters to your business, and integrating the cost awareness into the technical and the business decision making. So I think this is the one thing that I'd say that I think can apply everyone. But all the technical part really depends on like what type of workloads it's like you're running. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Umakant, from the blog you guys did, obviously storage was a big thing you focused on. Was there anything specific in that you would recommend people look into?
Sure. So EFS comes to my mind because that's a service like in Rivian, like when we started this journey in Rivian, we saved a lot of money, especially when you are using the life cycle policy. So just to give you some perspective, like how the prices differ at different tiers, like in North Virginia region, EFS standard is $300,000 per petabyte. Compare it with S3, $21,000 per petabyte. So it's super expensive. But if you move it to infrequent access, this 300,000 becomes like 16,000 per petabyte. And if you move it to even the cheaper tier, cheapest tier, which is archive tier, recent one, that becomes like $8,000 per petabyte. So definitely it means this service is something, if viewers whoever is watching, like if they try to take advantage, this is the one. Same time, like we can also move provision throughput to elastic throughput mode. If we are not using provision throughput mode completely, you can go and look into CloudWatch metrics and you will find it. So definitely that's one I would suggest. And same thing we mentioned in our blog. And thanks to Xianshu and other AWS team members, like we collaborated and we have put our ideas and insight there.
Great. And is there any like specific features or maybe like services or underrated aspects of cost optimization that you would recommend people watching today to maybe take a look at if they haven't already?
Yeah, underrated one, definitely the one which comes to my mind is like data transfer charges. So what happens if you don't pay attention? Like it's not a service in itself; it's a data transfer between different services. So you don't pay attention; it slowly accumulates, and it will what will happen like at the end, like it will go out of control. So to tackle it, like first, it's a huge topic in itself, but let's just focus on inter-zone data transfer, which happens inside a region between different availability zone. Why it's a special? Because you pay both in and out. Like generally for most of the data transfer, you pay just one side, like data transfer out charges in is free, but for interzone you pay both side, 1 cent in, 1 cent out. And there are three things I can think, like as of now. One is like NAT gateway placement, so you can place your NAT gateway in the same availability zone. So how to identify it? Like you go to trusted advisor, there is a fault tolerance section. Under that there is a NAT gateway zone independence report. So if you look into it, you will find out like where you are utilizing NAT gateway from a different availability zone.
Hmm.
One caveat is that, like if you are not doing a lot of data transfer, then you may end up incurring the net gateway charges, like which is a hourly charge you have to pay. So avoid that. Second is like use private IP address. As long as you are using private IP address inside same availability zone, data transfer is free. Moment you start using public IP, you will start incurring the inter zone data transfer charges. Third is like co-location of services. So co-location of services, what happens, like EC2, RDS, Elastic Cache, ENIs, Redshift. If you put in one availability zone, and especially for non-prod environment, like where high availability is not that important. So if high availability is important, means you cannot do anything about it. But if that's not important for non-prod environment, put it in one availability zone. And sometimes you have to do the cost benefit analysis, find out like, okay, is it worth doing it? But yeah, if you do it, data transfer is free of charge. So these are the few tips, like to avoid inter-zone data transfer charges.
Brilliant. Okay, so I want to make sure we touch on this subject very quickly before we finish out the show. We do our Secret Richard summary about the future of FinOps. So we all know Amazon is loving the Gen AI. I think the world is loving Gen AI. But I think you guys started to use Q and Amazon QuickSight to enhance the visualizations. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or how you think you're going to be using AI in the future?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So what we are doing inside Rivian, we are using QuickSight with Q. And QuickSight with Q has revolutionized our, like how we visualize things, how we use our observability tools, monitoring tools. And you can use natural language just like any other Gen AI tool. So definitely, like go check it out, QuickSight with Q. You can ask question in the natural language, you get you identify your cost anomaly, you can identify your uses, everything. So inside Rivian, like we are taking it one step forward, like where we try to consolidate our monitoring tool, observability tool under one roof by ingesting data from Curve and a trusted advisor, compute optimizer, and SCAD, split cost allocation, budget data, everything under one roof so that people can get answer. And the most important part is like it's a great equalizer, and it provides the inclusivity. So basically what does that mean? So it allows like everybody, whosoever is non-technical, also to come and ask question, because it's a natural language, anybody can come. Your finance people can come, your management and people can come and ask question, and everybody can participate in this cloud FinOps journey. They can take a decision based on the question and answer like what they are asking. So it's a great tool. And same time, like there is one feature which is very important, like it's called data story generation. So what happens, like data story part, you go and click on build button on any QuickSight dashboard, like what you have, just pick one. And once you click and type something that, okay, create a data story about this dashboard, it will create a PowerPoint presentation, it will create something very similar to that. And then you can, if you are creating a minutes of meeting or preparing a presentation for your management, like it can save you valuable time. So great tool.
Oh.
I would recommend everybody to use it.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot going on in the future. We're going to be doing a shout out for in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be doing a Gen AI session, so make sure that you tune into that. And if you're wondering, like, what's going on with the stream, how do I know what's happening? We do have a community hub where we've got all of our live streams listed out for the next season. So make sure to go and have a little look at that. And we'll also be putting up more content on there based on what we talk about in the episodes, so a summary of the episodes. Okay, before we do our last bit, let's go for a little bit of maybe some advice. So in one sentence or two, Umakant, what's some advice you give to someone who's starting out in their FinOps journey?
Yeah, miss, you are putting me on a difficult spot. Like it's very hard to put in one, two sentences. But I would say, like, okay, whosoever is starting, just it's very rewarding and challenging at the same time. And you think that it's a journey, not a destination. And there is you should know like what is the true profession of FinOps person. Like true profession of the FinOps person is not to just provide the recommendation. Is true profession is to uh, like do motivate and persuade people to do the cost optimization. Your impact multiplies like when you are motivating others. Think about it, like you can do so much in 24 hours, but if you motivate like 1000 people in the company to do 10 minutes of cost optimization every day, it's like 400 plus hours. And then same time it's a continuous learning. So I would suggest some uh, material to refer. One is like AWS, follow this show. I'm a big fan, watched all 9 episodes, 9 seasons and all the episode there. And then definitely what's new blog and optics team. If you have access to, you can save a lot of money there. And FinOps Foundation for all the best practices, all the networking, and Kari Quinn's blog, AWS, last week in AWS. And same time, like at the end, I want to end with the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail."
Oh, we got deep on the
Found.
end. Wow.
Yes.
Xianshu, can you top that with any bit of advice before we finish?
I don't have sport instances.
Like, I can't, I'm done. It was the book is closed. Okay, which brings us on to Secret Richard. So, Richard, if you want to share the screen, as always, we have Secret Richard, who is summarizing the show into 3 or 4 key bullets. And I don't know what those are yet, so I'll read them out live, which can often be quite entertaining because Richard thinks that they're quite funny. But as a reminder, my big piece of advice, subscribe to the show. That's how I think that you should. That's my big cue. All right, as those are coming up. All right. Umakant has a fan club built on a culture of trust. I love that. Yes, you have to work with other people. Make sure you build up the relationship. Build shock, identify, remediate, and prevent. Great solid advice. That's definitely going to be some kind of slogan. And Rivian and Upstream approach to cost optimization. I like the Upstream. We're throwing back to throwing these kids in the river. That is an interesting story, which I love. Okay, thank you so much for watching. We hope that you have enjoyed the episode. Thank you to my amazing guests. We've learned so much from these guys. I can't wait to dive into some more of the resources that we shared. As always, all the resources that we have listed are below in the chat. If you need anything else, don't be afraid to email costoptimization@amazon.com, or you can share any of the resources or information that you need. Next week, we're going to be doing all about waste and idle resources and the Cost News Digest. So make sure you tune in for that. But that is it for today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.